And it's an digital audio player, dual DACs, balanced output, Bluetooth DAC mode, USB DAC mode, Wi-Fi streaming, Tidal, Cobas support, all packed into something that's barely bigger than a dongle. Sounds too good to be true, right? So today we are taking a deep dive into TempoTec Variation V1 and answering one big question. Is this a mid-range DAB disguised as a budget player, or there are any hidden compromises? So let's find out. So hello guys, this is me, Ashik, from Plug and Play. So today we are gonna be reviewing TempoTec Variation V1, which I've been using for last 2 months. So TempoTec Variation V1 is an entry-level digital audio player, officially priced at $89. So, and sometimes you will get discount on this or their official site. So what's make it special is its form factor. This thing is closer in size to a Bluetooth DAC&AMP, like a B-tier device, than a traditional DAB. But don't let the size fool you. It runs on Hebe operating system, uses dual Cirrus Logic CS43131 DAC chips, supports balanced 4.4 output, and even works as a standalone DAB, a USB DAC, a Bluetooth DAC, or a wireless streamer. That's a lot for under $100. So I've already unpacked as you saw. So what's inside the box? The TempoTec Variation V1 itself, a screen protector already pre-applied, plus an extra one, but the pre-applied one were worn out by myself, and I've been applied another screen protector, a USB A to USB-C cable, and a short USB-C to USB-C cable, manual and volume lock instruction, there's the inside, and a clipper to hang your TempoTec V1 to your shirt, to your pant, or anything. So design, let's talk about design and build quality. Build wise, the Variation V1 mostly plastic with an aluminum backplate. Yeah, aluminum backplate. It doesn't feel cheap or flimsy, no creaks, no flex, but visually it does remind you that this is a budget device. The front is entire glass with a small LED indicator, a 2-inch LED screen, V1 branding on the bottom. On the right side, there we have power button, previous track, play, pause, next track. So on the left, we have volume up, volume down, and a micro SD card slot. On the top, we have 3.5mm single-ended and 4.4mm balanced output. And on the bottom, we have USB-C for charging and DAC mode. Everything is placed logically and is easy to use even one-handed. It's very handy, as you can see. The buttons feel slightly squishy, but still responsive. On downside, the battery is not user replaceable. So keep in mind that despite the exposed screw on the back. The Variation V1 uses 2-inch 240 by 320 touchscreen, which looks tiny on paper. At first, I was skeptical, but in real use, it actually makes sense because the device is so small, your thumb naturally rests over the entire screen area, making one-handed navigation very easy. Brightness is excellent, even outdoors. Viewing angle are good, and text remains readable. Though if you have larger fingers or poor eyesight, this screen can feel cramped. The touch response is generally smooth, but some UI buttons near the edge can be tricky to hit. Software. So let's talk about software or heavy operating system experience. The Variation V1 runs heavy operating system, which is Linux based and very lightweight. If you have used heavy player before, this will feel familiar. Clean UI, fast navigation, gesture controls, MSEB tuning, heavy link support. Streaming wise, you will get Tidal, Qobuz, GLNA, and also AirPlay, but that will work as a receive only. Important note here: firmware matters. Early firmware versions had serious issues, random reboots, freezing battery drain. After updating to firmware version 1.1, the device becomes much more stable and usable. My advice would be update the firmware immediately after buying. Connectivity and features. For connectivity, this little thing punches way above its weight. You will get Bluetooth 5.1, which includes SBC, AAC, APTX, LDAC, and UAT. This works as a two-way Bluetooth, also as a transmitter and also a receiver. It has Wi-Fi 2.4 GHz bandwidth, USB DAC mode for phone and PC, LDAC at 990 kilobit per second. Can be unstable, but LDAC standard works well. You can literally clip this to your pocket and use it as a wireless DAC for your phone. So let's talk about battery life. The TempoTec V1 comes with 1400 mAh battery. So on 3.5mm input or output, I'm getting around 12 hours, and on 4.4 I've gotten around 10 hours, but I've been using this for last 2 months. So at first I have got this data, but after using 1 month the battery life wears out a little bit, so keep in mind that. But in my country the heat and the weather is harsh, so the battery is pretty good for this compact device. You will run a day or two with this amount of battery. And that's a solid for such a small device, though it is not class leading. Charging takes about 2 hours, which is acceptable for this form factor. So let's talk about sound quality. Sound wise, this is classical Cirrus Logic tuning. Overall signature neutral. I would say slightly warm, but not overly warm. Smooth upper mids, and treble is very smooth, I guess. Clean background with no hiss. I've gotten no hissing from any IM using this. So bass is very tight and controlled. Mid bass has punch. Sub bass extension is decent but not emphasized or overly textured, and mid range is here slightly forward, which helps vocal sound fuller and more engaging. Male and female vocals both have good body and texture. Travel smooth, non-fatiguing, slightly airy, but never sharp. I would say the travel here is very rounded. So technical performance. If we talk about sound stage, it has above average width, but very limited depth. Imaging is accurate in a sense, but not holographic. Resolution good for its asking price. $100 with screen and various functionality, what you can ask for. But I would praise TempoTec for this kind of approach. This is very fantastic device with many feature, because some people requires many feature. Also, you can use this as an streamer. So if you have dongle, you can plug it and use that dongle as your amp. So if we talk about dynamics here, it's very adequate but not explosive. It pairs especially well with efficient IMs and very easy to drive headphone. I would skip the headphone part. I would mostly run this for IEM purposes. Power and pairing, it has near 123 milliwatt at 32 ohm on 3.5 and 215 milliwatt at 32 ohm at 4.4 balanced. It handles most IMs easily, and even some headphones like SD600, though the sound definition would be much not that impactful, I would say, but you can run very decent and budget and efficient IM flawlessly on this. Yeah, but don't expect miracles. Demanding planner and high-end headphones will sound very underpowered here. So my final verdict: is the TempoTec Variation V1 worth it? I would say yes, with realistic expectations. The pros here: insane feature set for the price, balanced output, excellent portability, clean neutral sound, no hiss with IEMs. If I would mention the cons, that would be the screen size is very small and the early firmware issue, but the firmware has been fixed. Limited power for demanding headphones. If you are new to hobby, want a tiny little DAC with all kind of features like DAC, Bluetooth receiver in one, this is an easy recommendation under $100. Overall, I think the Variation V1 is a good DAC for the price, and if its features and specs match what you are looking for in a DAC, you should definitely consider it. So that's all for today. Thank you.